Hey, welcome to Technology Paul. How are y'all doing today? I'm excited to be with you. Today I am diving deep into the world of the IKEA smart home ecosystem. And this is my first look at their lighting products. And it's good timing because IKEA has kicked off a transition to Matter-compatible smart home products over the last couple of years as the industry starts to shift in that direction. And as part of this transition, they have discontinued their older TRADFRI smart lights and introduced a new line called KAJPLATS. I've bought 6 of their smart bulbs and 1 remote to test out the experience of setting up their smart lighting products and using them on a day-to-day basis. Let's get into it. I went to IKEA to grab my smart bulbs and did a bit of research ahead of time. There are a few things you need to know about getting started with IKEA smart lighting products. First of all, if you're familiar with Philips Hue lighting products, then you might ask yourself, do I need a central hub like with Philips Hue? The answer to this is surprisingly no. You can, in fact, use these KAJPLATS smart bulbs with no hub, although IKEA does sell an optional hub and there are a few trade-offs if you don't use one. See, IKEA allows you to connect smart bulbs to their physical remotes without a home hub. You can connect up to 10 bulbs to a remote system before you need to get involved with a hub. That is convenient because the hub is $79 Canadian, and so it's the most expensive part of getting started with these lights. The fact that it's optional makes these products more accessible. However, as I mentioned, there is a trade-off. If you don't use a hub, then you won't be able to control these lights from outside of your home. Only using the remote or the app on your local area network is available. But like I say, it's an accessible place to start given IKEA bulbs range from around $8 to $12, which is a great price point and a far cry from the much more expensive Philips Hue bulbs. The bulbs themselves come in a few different variations. There are a couple of different styles of bulb you can buy. For example, you can buy E26, E12, or GU10 screw bases. And you can buy white lights or color changing lights. Additionally, the brightness ranges from 450 lumens to 1600 lumens. But the beautiful thing is the price point, in that the range for any of these bulbs is between $8 and $10. Or you can buy a combination starter pack with a bulb and a remote for just $14.99. I just need standard bulbs, so I ended up buying E26 bulbs with 1100 lumens. I bought 3 white lights and 3 color changing lights. I also picked up the DIRIGERA remote control, which goes for about $8. And lastly, I picked up the DIRIGERA hub because I plan to test out more IKEA smart home products, and I do want to control the lights from outside my home. It's a bit of a splurge up front, but I think it will be worth it in the end. To set all these products up, all you have to do is download the IKEA Home app on your phone. Since I did buy the hub, that was the first thing I set up. It's simply a matter of plugging the hub in and then using the included Ethernet cable to connect it to your router, which is important because it needs to be hardwired to work properly. It was fairly easy to get the app to find and recognize the hub and get going right away. The first place I wanted to install a bulb was in our utility room. It's the room where I actually keep my home hub, and it's got the furnace, hot water tank, and stuff like that. It's got one of these pull string lights, and it's super annoying to use because I have to duck underneath some of our ventilation to find the string, which is tough to do in pitch black. Putting a smart light and smart remote in here is going to be a big win. But this is where the seamlessness stopped. I spent so long trying to set up the first bulb that I thought I was going to have to take all this stuff back. I think I spent about an hour trying to get the app to successfully link the bulb to the hub. For whatever reason, it just wasn't working. I even tried a different bulb in case I got a defective one. I also did some research online and found that you can basically hard reset the light bulb by turning the light switch connected to it on and off 6 times. I tried that several times. I was just about to give up, but I decided to basically reset everything to give it one more try. I restarted my phone, I restarted the hub, and I restarted my router, as well as hard resetting the light bulb. After doing all of that in one go, I finally got the bulb to connect, and subsequent light bulbs went much more easily after that. But then I couldn't connect the remote that I already had paired to the hub with the new bulb. I ended up having to delete the remote from the app and repair it to get it to link to the light bulb. All I can say is that this early stage experience is probably more than most non-tech savvy people are willing to put up with, and they probably end up returning their smart home products to IKEA. Only through my perseverance and consumer tech background in being able to try different approaches was I successful here. When in doubt, just reset everything or remove and repair the device that you're having problems with. But when it was all said and done, I had my new light bulb installed in the utility room along with the connected remote. The remote, by the way, has a magnetic plate mount that allows you to keep it mounted to the wall and provides the ability to take it off the wall when it's deemed convenient to do so. This is great considering I can open my utility room and quickly press the remote to activate the light bulb right when I walk in. On to my next target for IKEA smart bulbs. We have in our living room a floor lamp that sits behind our couch, which provides light for reading and ambience. It is a great target for smart lights because sometimes I want to have the lights dimmer and there's no built-in dimmer switch. There are 3 different fixtures attached to the lamp itself, and sometimes I just want 1 or 2 of the lights turned on versus all 3. So I swapped these lights out as well. In this floor lamp, I used the color changing lights. I'm not sure why exactly, but I just feel like that might come in handy for parties or whatever down the line. Like I said, setting up these lights was a much more seamless experience. Maybe it's because I had set up the bulb and remote downstairs already, and the more you start to set up devices, the stronger the mesh network gets, or something like that. Lastly, I placed 2 more white lights in our front entrance light fixture. I did this mainly because I want to be able to turn these lights on when we are not home or on vacation, for example, to make it appear that we are indeed home. This is the type of light you would presumably have on if you were home and expecting company, for example. Once I had all my lights installed, I also wanted to connect all of this to my Google Home ecosystem, which is supposed to be pretty straightforward. I ran into an issue pretty quickly. The IKEA Home Smart app and the Google Home app were not playing nicely together. I went to the Google Home app and into the settings under Works with Google and easily found IKEA. I tapped to connect to IKEA, which launched the IKEA Home Smart app. However, when I was in the IKEA Home Smart app, it gave me a special code that I was supposed to paste into the Google Home app. The Google Home app did not have a place to put a special code. So I kept bouncing back and forth between the IKEA Home Smart app and the Google Home app. Again, I probably spent half an hour on this. I found my solution in the internet's help forum, which everybody knows is Reddit. The suggestion there was to delete the IKEA Home Smart app and then go through the process through the Google Home app. It worked perfectly. I could then actually sign into my IKEA Home Smart profile and skip this whole special code business altogether. I'm not sure if this will be the case for everyone, but for me and some others, you might find some success by deleting the IKEA Home Smart app once you initially set up your hub and smart bulbs to connect to Google Home. So let's talk about my thoughts on these smart lights because they have one big advantage over Philips Hue and a lot of competing smart lights out there. You know what it is? It's the price. These smart lighting products are cheaper than most competing products. The bulbs themselves are up to 80% cheaper, which is wild. The hub is the only part of the package which is still relatively pricey at about $80 Canadian. But the lights at $8 or $10 and the remotes at about $8 are just so much cheaper. It makes it a lot easier to build your smart home ecosystem around these IKEA products than some other brand. And the fact that IKEA's smart lighting system now runs on Matter, the universal smart home thread networking protocol, means you can work with whatever voice assistant you have at home. As I pointed out though, it's not always easy to set these lights up. That's the one major downside, because for a smart home ecosystem to really take off, it has to be easy for ordinary people to set up. I might be willing to try again and again and reset everything 5 times before finally succeeding. Most people aren't going to do that. So that's the one major piece IKEA is going to have to work on. I'm curious about your experience though. Have you tried IKEA's latest Matter compatible smart lights, particularly the KAJPLATS line? Or do you have another smart lighting brand you prefer? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're a subscriber to my channel, you might consider supporting my work further by becoming a channel member for just $2.99 per month. As a member, you get priority replies to your comments, 24-hour early access to new videos, and loyalty badges. Plus, it goes a long way to supporting my ability to make content. And I want to thank my current members. It means a lot to have you along for the journey. But if you're new to my channel, perhaps you'll consider subscribing, which is free. I post more content all the time, so make sure you don't miss out. Thanks as always, and have a good one. See you in the next video.